What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WrestleRant, where every single Tuesday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network as well as on the Global Wrestling Network. And today we're talking WCW NWA Starrcade 1987. And a real quick note here before we get started. I was at Raw last night, henceforth my voice is shit, so I apologize if I struggle to get through this review, but we will keep it relatively short and sweet. Compared to most Starrcades, the show is shorter, and there's a lot less matches. The other Starrcades went 3 hours, 3.5 hours. This Starrcade, for whatever reason, Starrcade in 1987, went only about 2.5 hours, which was a refreshing change of pace. And overall, I thought it was a better show. More consistent, a lot less bad matches. A few matches that weren't that great. But overall, it was a pretty solid show. And not many matches that I would say that were just terrible. So anyway, we kicked off the show with a 6-man tag team match. It was Michael Hayes, Sting, and Jimmy Garvin, the babyfaces, taking on the trio of Rick Steiner, Eddie Gilbert, and Larry Zbyszko. Very good opening match. The crowd was white hot for this to kick off the show, which I would expect them to be since it's the opener. But it was a really, really fun match. The crowd was really, really into it. Thought it was great. I think it was Steiner and Sting who had the real feud going here. It should have been a one-on-one match between those two, since they were the former tag team partners and they were trying to settle their differences, but it led to nothing. The match ended in a time limit draw of 15 minutes. So that was kind of a shitty finish to kick off the show with. But the match itself was a lot of fun. They furthered their feud, so overall it was a success despite the anticlimactic finish. After that, we had Dr. Death Steve Williams taking on Barry Windham for the UWF Heavyweight Championship. This did not last long, really, at all. Went about 7 minutes, so about average time. But it really was not that good. Williams did win with a roll-up to retain his UWF Heavyweight Championship, and the belt would be done away with within a month. But I don't know, Williams and Windham, I've seen matches of his as well. They're both very, very good, but here they didn't really seem to click as well as I'm sure many other people thought they would. But it was a fine match. Williams goes over, still the champion, if only for another few weeks. So after that, we had the Rock and Roll Express take on the Midnight Express in the return of the Skywalker'S match. Now, I gave my thoughts on this, I believe, in the last Starrcade review. If I'm not mistaken, let me go back in my notes here real quick. Steel Cage. Yeah, the last Skywalker'S match did take place at Starrcade 86. So they brought it back a year later for Starrcade 87. I just think it's one of the dumbest match types you could possibly do. And maybe some people get off on saying, these people up on the skyscrapers, who's going to fall first? I don't know. To me, it just seems super reckless. And I know they do that in TNA with the X Division shit, with the Ultimate X bullshit. I feel like you're falling a lot less farther than you are in a Skywalker'S match. But that's just me. That's just from my point of view. The Skywalker thing might have been lowered this time compared to the first outing a year earlier. I don't know, I'm just not a fan of the match. It sucked. I thought it was stupid. The whole premise of the match, to knock your opponent off the top of the structure, I think is fucking dumb as hell. The Rock and Roll Express did win, and then Ricky Morton, Big Bubba Rogers, who I believe is the big boss man in WWE later on, he was with the Midnight Express. Ricky Morton gave him his comeuppance here afterward anyway, by low-blowing him, or kicking him in the crotch, whatever, and forcing him to flee from the ring afterwards. So there was that. So the babyfaces get the big feel-good win here. After that, for the NWA and UWF Television Championships, it was a unification match between Terry Taylor and Nikita Koloff. And I thought this match was really, really good. They worked very well together. They got a ton of time. Went maybe a little too long, but still, for the time they were given, it was great. Felt like it had a big fight feel with the two titles being up for grabs here. Went about 20 minutes. I thought they just worked really, really well together, like I said. In the end, it was Nikita Koloff going over and winning both the NWA and UWF television titles. And then Terry Taylor would go on to leave the NWA soon after for the USWA and then the WWF, becoming the cock, the rooster, whatever, the cock or rooster, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's what Terry Taylor would become. The Red Rooster was his name in the WWF. But he was a part of NWA for a little longer after this matchup, but I believe this was his final big matchup in the NWA, hence why he lost here. For the NWA World Tag Team titles, it was Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard defending their gold against the Road Warriors, in which was, again, probably the match of the night. I thought this was the match of the night right here. The Road Warriors what else can you say about them that hasn't already been said? They're so fucking over. So over. The crowd was white hot for them here and was so ready to see them win the tag titles. And technically they did win the tag titles. They won the match with the Doomsday device when Earl Hebner made the count, but the original referee Tommy Young came back in and said, no. I saw Arn Anderson go over the top rope by way of the Road Warriors. You can't do that. You got to DQ him, and that was it. Anderson and Blanchard win, retain the titles by DQ of all things. So another dumb finish on the show, which I thought was really stupid, because the Road Warriors definitely should have won the belts here. That's like not even a question. Anderson and Blanchard were a great team, but they were no Road Warriors. So, I mean, they probably did that to keep them in chase mode. I'm not sure if the Road Warriors would go on to win the belts after this, but I don't know, I just thought that was a really, really dumb finish to an otherwise great match, and a really hot match at that, because the crowd really, really, really wanted to see the Road Warriors take the titles. For the NWA United States Championship, our first of 2 steel cage matches on the show. And first of all, again, I apologize for my voice cracking. My voice is pretty much gone by this point in the morning. But anyway, like I said, steel cage match for the NWA United States Championship. Dusty Rhodes taking on Lex Luger. Lex Luger was the champion coming in. Pretty good match. I enjoyed this. Again, Dusty Rhodes was big fan favorite here. People really, really wanted to see him win. They got the feel-good win here with Dusty Rhodes beating Luger for the belt, which was really cool. And if Rhodes lost, I believe the stipulation was that he would have been suspended for 90 days. So there was something at stake here for him as well. So again, another match that had a big fight feel to it. J.J. Dillon, oh so desperately trying to help Luger retain the title. And in the end, his interference backfired, which I liked. So he threw in a chair inside the steel cage, over the top of the steel cage structure. And Dusty Rhodes grabbed it instead when the referee wasn't looking. He attacked Luger with it, or he did a DDT on the chair to Luger with the chair that J.J. Dillon was intending to throw to Lex Luger. So Rhodes does the DDT on top of the chair to Luger, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, we got a new NWA United States champion. So great match here. I thought this was really, really good, and a great moment to finish it off. And a fantastic finish, too, where the interference of the heel manager backfires, which you do not see all too often. And then in the main event, for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, it was Ric Flair taking on the champion Ron Garvin for the belt in another steel cage matchup. This one I thought was even better than Dusty Rhodes and Lex Luger. I thought this was a great match. A lot different than most Ric Flair matches you'll see, which I thought was kind of interesting. A lot more physical, a lot more hard-hitting. Felt like a real ruthless rivalry. But this got a ton of time as well, just about 18 minutes or so. Very physical. So I like this a lot. I like this match quite a bit. And they might have done the Dusty Rhodes win in the previous match, because they had the quote-unquote heel and Ric Flair win here. But he was the more over one of the two. Ron Garvin was just not a main event guy. He held his own here. They had a great match. But he was not the world champion I'm sure the promotion was looking for. Ric Flair was. Hence why they put the belt back on Flair. But that being said, though, Ric Flair was supposed to be the heel here. You wouldn't know that based off the reactions that he was getting coming down to the ring and during the match. But he was supposed to be the heel here, which is why they probably had Dusty win in the previous match. But still, I thought it was a great match, despite Ron Garvin not probably being the man in the NWA. I thought he had a real good showing here. Ric Flair did, obviously, as well. And they had a great main event. And we have a new NWA United States champion. So, bunch of titles changing hands on this show. Very newsworthy night. And really not many bad matches at all. The Steve Williams and Barry Windham match kind of sucked, but it wasn't like atrociously terrible. And the Skywalker'S match wasn't nearly as bad as the one from the year before. Completely unnecessary, but not as bad as the one from the year before. So overall, I thought this was a pretty good show. Very consistent, very solid, and nice and concise as well. At a 2.5 hour in length. 2.5 hours in length. So wasn't too long. Very quick and easy watch. And had a bunch of good matches on it. So I easily recommend Starrcade 1987 as a network pay-per-view to watch. Because it doesn't last too long. You got a bunch of good matches, bunch of title changes. And the bad isn't too bad. And the good is pretty good. So definitely check out Starrcade 1987 on the WWE Network. So anyway, guys, we'll be back on WrestleRant next Tuesday, right here to talk about an ECW show. The name of the show escapes me at the moment, but another 1997 pay-per-view, I believe. But in the meantime and in between time, you guys can find me and follow me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant. You can find me on Facebook as well at facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. and also right here on YouTube by liking the video, commenting on the video, dropping a comment, sharing the video, and subscribing to the channel for more daily content. We're quickly closing in on 2,000 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. Hopefully we can reach that goal very, 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 very soon. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.